and Antrim. In the league, they were going in opposite directions, but Antrim did win here 2 years ago.
Yeah, but Antrim have regressed since then, and Donegal, certainly under Jimmy McGuinness, have improved, albeit with the same group of players. There's no major change in personnel from what he would have inherited. I saw Donegal live twice. I was at 2 of their games and I was at 1 of the Antrim games. And certainly Donegal have adopted a much more defensive type of game than any other team that I've ever seen. And at the final in Croke Park, it was the first time when they played Laois that I saw Donegal had all their players in their own defensive half of the field on one occasion. I had never ever seen that in a county game before, where everybody retreated back. But normally they leave Colin McFadden and Michael Murphy up, and that's a good outlet for them. But they do play a very defensive style.
Donegal gave Antrim a fairly good beating in the league. Now, Antrim did have problems, kind of injuries and so forth at the time. Will they be better today? I presume they will.
Well, no, I think the Antrim project under Liam Bradley is fizzling out. You know, Liam, when he comes into a team, you know, it's a bit like the Kevin Keegan effect. You know, there are results very quickly because he's charismatic and he's good with the players and all of that. He's not really a long-term project man. And you know, during the league this year, there were unmistakable signs that the team was losing its spirit. You know, there wasn't that chemistry that there had been. Division 2 is a lot tougher, and they had a very salutary lesson throughout Division 2. I mean, they beat Meath, you know, begs, I mean, who wouldn't at the moment? But aside from that, I mean, they played Derry in the league in Casement Park, and they looked like beaten dogs that day. I mean, Derry had a wild, easy victory in a very poor game, and they looked completely different from the Antrim team that were getting ready to play championship last year. On the other hand, you've got Donegal, even though they're playing ultra-defensive football, they've got terrific inside forwards, and the question is who can stop the boy Mountain from Glen Swilly?
This is the big question. Let's head over to Ballybuffet.
In the regular netminder here since 2004, and today he's fronted by a full backline that includes Neil McGee and Paddy McGrath, both of whom missed the recent Division 2 league final. At half-back, Kevin Cassidy starts his 34th championship match, flanked by Frank McGlynn and Anthony Thompson. Newcomer Martin McIlhenny starts in midfield, as he did against Laois, alongside the experienced Rory Cavada. In the half-forwards, Ryan Bradley will wear the number 12 shirt, making a return to championship action after an absence of 2 years. And then up front, most of the attention will centre on Michael Murphy and Colin McFadden, who between them have scored 6 goals and 132 points in championship. Davids, who gets the nod over Chris Kerr of St. Gall's. In the absence of Andy McCann, the Saffrons look to Richie Johnston to man the edge of the square alongside the team captain Kevin O'Boyle. The half-back line has a couple of familiar names. Tony Scullion and Justin Crozier have played alongside one another for the past 5 summers. Michael McCann is named in midfield as partner for Eildon Gallagher, but he could be switched into attack. There's a first start for Mark Sweeney at wing forward, while the number 10, Conor Murray, has limited championship experience. And up front, the main scoring threat comes from Paddy Cunningham, an outstanding free taker, while Brendan Herron and Kevin Niblock may be given deeper roles to play. Martin.
People say about Donegal, they're lovely people and it's a lovely place to go and it's a lovely place to go on holiday, but in football terms we're maybe nice people and maybe nice people on the field as well, and you get to play Armagh and these teams, and sometimes we're pushed about the place because we are too nice. When I was playing, and even 19, 20, 21, I was managing a lot of underage teams, and it was always coaching in my head all the time, and I was always drawn towards it. So it's fantastic for me now to be in this position that I am in and managing the team, and we're moving forward hopefully as a county. For me, 1992 was one between the Ulster semi-final and the Ulster final because we really trained. I've never trained harder in my life, and I know the players in the squad had never trained harder in their life either, and so much had gone into it that just they weren't going to let it go. And I think back in now, that would be the reason, in my mind anyway, why it came to Donegal in 1992. When you're playing and you've got a coach's mind, you're thinking to yourself all the time, that's good, or maybe I wouldn't have done that there, or you take this or you take that, and you're forming your own idea of how you think the game should be played and how you would do things all the time, and exposure to other managers and coaches as well, good and bad. The good information and the bad information is equally as valuable. it would be very wrong for me to say the under-21s were excellent last year and they got to the All-Ireland final, so I have an affinity with them and we want to place so many of them in the senior team, because ultimately when you get the senior job, every single player in the county is a Donegal player and they must get equal respect, whether they're 19 years of age or they're 26 or like Michael Higgerty, they're 30 or 31. We didn't put an emphasis on one in the league. In the first early stages of the league, we were just focusing on trying to develop a style of play or styles of play at that stage. It's brilliant to have, I suppose, the trophy and the cabinet now, but at the end of the day, the 15th of May was always the date that was in our mind at the start of the year. I want the boys playing for Donegal and playing for their jersey and playing with passion and playing intelligent football and flamboyant football if we can, but we want them to put their best foot forward and be positive and take the challenge to the opposition, whether it's Antrim or whether it's Dublin or whether it's Tyrone or whether it's Armagh, it doesn't matter. Every day is a challenge and we must go out and try and meet that challenge, and that's the only way we're going to progress. And we've done that through the league, and now the real test starts in the championship. And for me, I'm looking forward to that, because they have been questioned and their integrity has been questioned in the past, and you know their willingness to play for the county has been questioned in the past. And I want to see the answer now. Are we moving on? Are we moving in the right direction? And do we want to do it, or is it we're going to be the same old Donegal? So it's a very important day for us today, and it's a very important day for the county if we want to move into the latter stages of the championship.
Yeah, Donegal manager Jim McGuinness there. He has one star forward in Michael Murphy, there's no question about that, Colin O'Rourke. Would you want to just also highlight the man who will be on his side there in the corner forward position, Colin McFadden?
Yeah, well, I think it's very valuable in any forward line to have a left-footed player, and Daniel Goulding shows that with Cork, and it's particularly important, say, for Freeze on the right-hand side of the field. So, as well as that, McFadden is a big fella. The ball can be kicked in high to himself and Murphy, and both of them are well capable of winning it and scoring. Now, McFadden has been around a long time, and at times in the past we often said, you know, he flattered to deceive. But definitely throughout this league campaign and under the new manager, Jimmy McGuinness, he seems to have found a new lease of life and is certainly playing a lot better than any time I have seen him in the past, and seems to be more involved in the game.
Guys like him are certainly going to test the Antrim defence. New goalkeeper and the full-back, Ricky Johnson, is also going to get a big test today.
Well, Ricky Johnson is a very unusual sort of a find for Antrim, because he didn't even play full-back for his club, Cregan. But he was brought in sort of midway through the league, and he's been terrific. He doesn't look particularly like a footballer, you know. He's big and sort of cumbersome looking, but he's terrifically quick. And I mean, he really did a terrific job on Michael Murphy during the league, and also on Paddy Bradley. And it's very, very important that Murphy's kept quiet, because he's so tricky and he can take the game away from you in a couple of minutes. He can stick two balls in the net and the game's over.
In one word, Joe, Donegal to win?
I think Donegal handsomely.
Colin?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It would seem as if Donegal should win fairly easy.
All right, lads, thanks for that. All set to go on Ballybough then. So let's hand over to our commentary team, and they, once again, are Ger Canning.
Trying to make an angle for himself. Little breeze into his face now at this stage, blowing across the field from the stand side. Should suit a left-footed kicker. It does, and Donegal take the lead in the opening minutes.
Cut away the ultra defensive blanket that they have had over the last couple of games. It might suit them better.
So in the windy conditions, it's Kevin Niblock who steps up to take this free, dropping it in and dropping it over the bar. So tying up the match, the opening two scores coming in the Ulster Championship from Freeze. The first from Colin McFadden, this latest one from Kevin Niblock, hitting onto the crossbar and just having the distance of getting his first point in the 2011 championship. From 20 metres out, he's put it wide. Well, there's Martin McElhenney, the player who was being held back. Free quickly taken. On as far as Ryan Bradley. Ryan Bradley, who missed a couple of championship seasons, but back in favour once again. Dermot Malloy now. Bradley being encouraged to go and have a kick and try and get the score from here, and he does, and he puts it over the bar. It's taken us nearly 22 minutes for a point to come here from play. And Donegal take the lead once again by 2 points to 1, thanks to Ryan Bradley's long-distance shooting, just his 4th ever point in the championship. And it's 2 points to 1 in favour of the home team at on the lose. Tony Scullion, vital member of their team. This is kicked in by Paddy Cunningham. He may have missed the last one, he's got this one. And he ties up the match once again. So it's 2 points apiece to go. Slipped to his left. Carried on by Ryan Bradley, in as far as Adrian Hanlon. Usually one of those players who will shoot on sight. And he has a go this time, and it's well worth doing. And it's a nice point. And it's over the bar. His first of the day, his 4th ever in the championship. And Donegal shoot back into the lead again by 3 points to 2. Good combination play. And from the angle, it was Hanlon from Donegal who fired it over the bar. 3-2.
That's great confidence from Hanlon to concede the free in.
Absolutely. Michael Murphy then to hit this one over from about 22 metres out. Big cheer because it's his first point in this year's a wall of defenders, but it's broken open, and it's Conor Murray who had the chance of slipping it in and putting it over the bar, and instead he's put it wide. Great chance. Into McFadden. There's a space here and a gap. Carol Lacey surrounded immediately. Justin Crozier trying to get it from him. A good block by Crozier on Dermot Malloy, but still the shot is taken, and it's an effective one, and it's put over the bar, and it's Ryan Bradley again. Another one for the 25-year-old from Buncrana. That's great.
In contrast to a lot of the tippy-tappy football that they're playing.
So 5 points to 2. Conor Murray now trying to break free. Look at the 3 men from Donegal after him. Dished off, and it's Cunningham who strikes, and Cunningham has put it over the bar. That's Antrim's first point to come from play. Well, it's taken them, what, nearly 33 minutes to get this. It was a great run. Everybody after him trying to foul him. The referee allowed an advantage there for Cunningham to kick it and to put it over. Paul Durkin was arguing with the umpire that that's fisted, this time by Eardon Gallagher. Haven't seen a great deal of him in this match. Kevin Cassidy has been very much involved. Nicely across here as far as Martin McElhenney, the DCU student. Back as far as Dermot Malloy. That's a good kick, and Donegal are finding a little bit of confidence now, and they are much the better team, and they are leading this match by 6 points to 3.
Yeah, what was lovely in that move was the change of direction, the switch of the ball over to the far side of the field, and the layoff to
opener we were hoping for so far.
No, we weren't expecting it, I suppose, because both sides are so ultra defensive, but it's a throwback really of the style of Ulster football, or a throwback in the type of game we experienced in the sort of 70s and 80s, where a lot of sort of fouling, a lot of messing around with the ball, both sides over and back across the field. You know, it's a bit like a dog chasing a crowd of dogs chasing a rabbit, you know, and everybody running around each other, and there's no individual tussles, and very poor skill levels.
I suppose it also has to be said, Joe, in fairness, it doesn't maybe forgive the style of football, but the conditions are clearly not good either in Ballybofaid, and that doesn't help.
The way the teams are set up is, you know, almost inevitably going to kill the game, and then if you add a bit of rain and a bit of wind to that, you know, and also Donegal's, you know, the disease of Donegal football is solo running and short hand passing, and so you put those combinations together of a blanket defence, their natural instinct to solo and hand pass, and I mean it's a lethal cocktail that can lead only to one thing, which is boredom.
It can, but you were saying to me during that first half that if Donegal realised how much better they were than Antrim, that they could really open up.
Yeah, and this is, you know, where the point about, you know, personal freedom within the straitjacket of, you know, you can have tactics, but there must be personal freedoms within that. And it may well be, you know, and I've heard Jim McGuinness talking about that he's discussed personal freedoms with his players, but the way they're set up means that it's very difficult for players to express themselves. And what's happening now is that they've got two extremely dangerous inside. Well, they've got three. They've got Malloy, McFadden and Murphy, who are redundant. I mean, Murphy has been redundant. It wouldn't matter if Colin Cooper was in there with Kieran Donaghy. I mean, they're entirely redundant. mean, Kerry can play defensively and they can move a sweeper in and all of that, but they move the ball out at pace. And